Hi, my name is Vicky Jones and I'm an Oxygen Advantage breathwork instructor, but I've also been suffering from long COVID for 18 months now. And I wanted to share with you a couple of things, and I thought I would break it down into two videos. So please bear with me. It's important and invaluable information. But in the first video, this one, I'm going to talk about actually what long COVID is, so that you have an idea when you're working with clients about what they're going through. And it's very important because it's very, very little information about it and it's very misunderstood. So that's the first video. And the second video, I'm going to talk about the breathwork exercises that really help people with long COVID. So it's really been a journey for me, and through trial and error, I've used the exercises, and I've also helped others who have long COVID with some of the exercises. So I want to share that with you in the second video. So anyway, let's get started about long COVID. I got COVID back in July of 2020, so that's 18 months ago. And prior to getting COVID, I was an athlete, nutritionist, fitness instructor, wellness coach, very active, very healthy, also I thought. And I got a very mild dose of COVID. Typical loss of sense of smell. I did get COVID pneumonia and was treated with antibiotics for that. But by all intents and purposes, I was not admitted to the hospital, and thankfully, my symptoms were fairly mild. Now, one of the things about long COVID is that when you get COVID, the last thing that you expect to get is long COVID. And especially back in July of 2020, when COVID was kind of picking up steam, but nobody understood the long COVID. It's like you get COVID, you recover. I certainly hadn't heard about it. So when I didn't recover and joined the long COVID roller coaster, it really throws your life into turmoil and your health into turmoil. So what is long COVID? The answer is nobody knows. Nobody knows what it is, and nobody knows who is going to get it. I got long COVID. My husband got COVID from me, but didn't get long COVID. So there's no rhyme or reason yet that has been given to us as to why we have had to deal with the symptoms of long COVID. So that in itself is very difficult to deal with. The other thing that's very difficult to deal with is that medical tests don't actually show long COVID. So you expect to get answers from the medical community if you've got a decrease in your cardiovascular output, or you've got respiratory issues, or neurological issues, or digestive issues. But with long COVID, often you present with symptoms that cannot be found using normal medical tests. So that's another frustration for those of us that have got long COVID. A couple of other things is nobody knows how long you will have long COVID. I've had it for 18 months. It has been a roller coaster. I no longer work. I no longer exercise because I'm unable to. So the duration is unknown. Some people get long COVID, they're better after 6 months. Some people are better after 3 months. And there are some people who after 2 years still have it. So the duration of it is unknown. The severity of it is unknown. There are some of us who suffer from very severe symptoms, and I'm talking strokes, I'm talking neurological issues, I'm talking extreme fatigue, complete disability. And there are some people that have very mild symptoms. So the severity of your symptoms are very they're very different, as are the symptoms that are unique to yourself. So you can line up 100 people with long COVID, and I would guess that they would all have different symptoms. And I see this over and over again in the support groups that I am a member of on Facebook, that we all suffer from very, very different symptoms. But to give you an idea, these symptoms affect our whole body. So neurological, digestive, cardiovascular, respiratory, I've probably forgotten one of them, digestive, probably said that. And that's COVID brain. But like I said, people's hair fall out, people have dental issues, their eyesight changes, their digestion changes, their skin changes. People who were previously athletic can barely tolerate exercise. So it is a very, very confusing thing to deal with. We also don't know what the long-term effects are. So when you meet someone with long COVID, if you have a client, they can't tell us whether the damage that we are dealing with right now is long-term. What is the damage to my heart? What is the long-term damage to my lungs or my digestive tract or my brain? So those are questions that nobody knows, because we don't know what's going to happen 5 years down the road from this. So what that does to somebody's psyche is it's very difficult to deal with. Anxiety is through the roof. Depression, panic, you're scared, you're frustrated. So those are things that people with long COVID will present with. And often that is where you can be of the most help, because you can't heal long COVID, but you can offer tools that will at least help them deal with anxiety, panic, sleep issues, and breathing issues. So that's where it's so important that you do understand a little bit about where these people are coming from. And like I said, the other frustrating and obviously it makes you very anxious is the COVID roller coaster. You often hear people say, I'm on the COVID roller coaster. And what this is this. One day we're fine and we can exist as a sort of almost a normal human. The next day we could be at the very bottom of that roller coaster, barely able to get out of bed, barely able to move, incredible brain fog, incredibly severe symptoms. And then you pull yourself up again and then you dip. So over the span of long COVID, you're just doing this the whole time. And that feeds into the anxiety. So that's a very short duration of what happens when you get long COVID. Of course, we're all looking for answers. People are doing supplements. They look to the medical community for answers, but we're all out there searching for tools that help us. And when you have long COVID, I can tell you, you will try anything. I cannot tell you how many things I've tried and my husband has researched to ease my symptoms. So like I said, it's been a lot of biohacking, acupuncture, supplements, changes in food, massage, Epsom salts, saunas, cold water therapy. The biggest thing I can tell you that has helped me is breathing, and having my husband help me in times of distress with breathing exercises. So we as a population of patients are desperate for help. That's what I can tell you. That's how I'm going to finish this. We're desperate for help and we want to be heard. So by using and explaining breathwork exercises and holding someone's hand to sort of lead them in their darkest times is so important. And that's where these breathing exercises are absolutely essential. They're priceless for people with long COVID. So thank you for listening. And in my next video, we're going to move on to the breathing exercises that the Oxygen Advantage teaches. And just to say, these are the ones that I have used, that I have taught to other people with long COVID that have really helped them. So once again, thanks for listening, and I'll see you in the next video.